Hello students, welcome to my live teaching learning session of MMPC 10 Managerial Economics. Today is the first session of this paper, MMPC 10 Managerial Economics. In this session, I will discuss with you that the nature and scope of managerial economics. Why we study this paper and what is the meaning of managerial economics, what is the nature and scope of managerial economics. So in this session, we will discuss about all the topics which is related with introduction of managerial economics that we'll cover in today's session. So let us start from first topic, introduction to managerial economics. You know that economics is a social science. Economics is not a pure science. Economics is not a accurate or any branch of science like physics, chemistry. It is related with the nature of human behavior. That's why economics is known as social science, which studies human behavior in relation to optimizing allocation of available resources to achieve the given ends or goals. Our wants are always unlimited and resources are limited. If we want to fulfill our unlimited wants with the help of limited resources, how we can fulfill it? Economics tells us the solution to solve this problem. Economics tells us that how resources can be alternatively used. And if we use alternative use of the resources, then we can satisfy our unlimited wants with the help of limited resources. So economics always studies human behavior, human nature. In this, we study about consumers, producers, and all the firms and industry who produce goods and services for consumers, and consumers purchase those goods and services for satisfying their wants and needs. Brigman and Papas define managerial economics as the application of economic theory and methodology to business administration practices. So, managerial economics is that economics or is a branch of economics which is very useful for commercial or for industrial purpose, for managerial purpose, because each and every entrepreneur must have to know about how resources which are limited available in our country or in our whole world, that how we can use these limited resources for satisfying unlimited wants. Now next is definition of managerial economics. According to Christopher Savage and John R. Small, managerial economics is concerned with business efficiency. Economics tells us that how we can use efficient allocation of resources, how resources can be allocated efficiently or effectively so that we can achieve our set targets and our goals. According to W. Haynes, managerial economics is the study of the allocation of resources available to a firm of other unit of management among the activities of that unit. And according to D.C. Haig, managerial economics as a fundamental academic subject which seeks to understand and analyze the problems of business decision making. So according to these economics, overall we can conclude that managerial economics is that economics which is mainly concerned with business efficiency, which tells us the way how we can allocate limited resources or available resources for fulfilling the requirements of the country people. And managerial economics is a fundamental academic subject which seeks to understand and analyze the problems of business decision making. So this is the definition of managerial economics. Now next is meaning and definition. In 1951, managerial economics was defined by Joel Dean. According to him, managerial economics as a subject gained popularity in the USA after the publication of the book Managerial Economics by Joel Dean in which year? 1951. Managerial economics generally refers to the integration of economic theory with business practices. Economics provides tools. Managerial economics applies these tools to the management of business. So economics mainly provides us tools, and how we can use these tools to manage the whole business activities, that is the part of managerial economics. So in simple terms, managerial economics means the application of economic theory to the problem of management. Now next is managerial economics. What is the main objective of this paper, managerial economics, and what are the course input of this managerial economics paper? So the main objective of this managerial economics is to develop managerial perspective to economic fundamentals as aids to decision making under given environmental constraints. And the course input of managerial economics is number one is nature and scope of managerial economics. In this first session of this paper today, we will discuss about the nature and scope of managerial economics, what is the main objective of a firm, and what is economic theory, And managerial theory, managerial economic concepts like incremental principle and opportunity cost principles, discounting principles, equi-marginal principle, these are the different principles of managerial economics. We will discuss all these in today's session. And second is demand analysis. Demand analysis tells us about the demand of individual person, demand of the whole country people or market demand, and demand analysis tells us about the law of demand and the factors which determine the theory of demand and what is the meaning of elasticity of demand and what is the importance of price elasticity, income elasticity, cross elasticity, and using these elasticities in managerial decisions. So these are the course input of this paper, Managerial Economics, in which we will study about the nature and scope of managerial economics and the different principles of managerial economics, demand analysis, and elasticity of demand. Now next is the theory of consumer choice. This will also, we will discuss in this managerial economics like cardinal utility approach, indifference curve approach, revealed preference theory, and the theory of consumer choice under risk. Demand estimation for major consumer durable goods and non-durable products. Demand forecasting, what is the meaning of demand forecasting and what are the various techniques? With the help of these techniques, how we can analyze and how we can forecast or predict about the demand. Production theory will tell us production function. What is the meaning of production function? Which generally tells us about the relationship between input and output. And it shows the technical relationship between inputs, which are mainly used like land and capital or labor. These are main factors of production, and these inputs gives us output. So the relationship between input and output is known as production function. And production, if we are producing goods with one variable factor and other factors remains constant, and if all factors of productions are variable, then what type of production function we will use in economics? So if only one factor is variable, if two factors are variable, and if all the factors are variable, that is called economics returns to scale. There are two types of law. One is returns to factor and other is returns to scale. Returns to factor law is related with short time period and returns to scale is related with long time period. In short period, some factors remains constant, only one factor is variable and other remains constant. But in long run, we know that there is too much time available. We can change easily or simultaneously all the factors of production. So in long run, returns to scale law will be applicable. Now, what is the significance of this short-term period and long-time period, short run and long run cost function, their nature, shape, and interrelationship, law of variable proportion, law of returns to scale? This is the fourth topic, that is production theory. Next is price determination. Price determination under different market conditions, like how price is determined under perfect competition market and in a monopoly market and in a monopolistic competition market, oligopoly market. These are different forms of market. And in different forms of market, how price and output is determined. What are the various approaches to determine the price and output? We will study in this all these price and output determination under the topic of price determination. Next is business cycles. Business cycles are just as wave-like fluctuations which occur during time to time, and it has generally four stages. One is boom, second is recession, third is depression, and fourth is recovery. Business cycles occurs when all business enterprises are gaining profit, then economy will be in a situation of boom. When all business enterprises suffering from losses, then they will go in situation of recession. And if this recession situation takes too much time period, then economy will fall in depression period. Then further, to overcome this problem, government take some steps to solve this problem, then recovery stage will start, and then again we will reach at the situation of boom. So these situations occur according to the different time period, and these situations are known as business cycles. So the methods of price determination in practices, pricing of multiple products, price discrimination, international price discrimination, dumping, transfer pricing, all these topics we will discuss in business cycle topic. Now, how does managerial economics helps in marketing, helps in production? Managerial economics always helps in marketing, production, and financing. It works as a tool for businesses that is used to understand the functioning of a market and also how to sustain themselves in an ever-changing market. From analyzing demand and forecasting future demand to capital management, managerial economics provides helps with almost everything, because economics gives us the way how to allocate available resources in such a manner so that we can fulfill our set targets and we can fulfill the entire or whole country people demand with the help of limited resources, and the way from which we can use these limited resources to satisfy unlimited want, that is tell by economics. So managerial economics helps in marketing, managerial economics helps in demand forecasting, and demand forecasting is very important thing, because without forecasting demand, how much quantity producer will produce. So supply always depends upon demand of the product. If demand will increase, then producer will encourage to produce more goods and services. Then production will rise, means supply will rise. If demand falls, then supply will also falls. So demand and supply are the main tools which can determine the price of the commodity. Equilibrium price always determined with the help of intersection of demand curve and supply curve. Demand curve generally slopes downward and supply curve slopes upward. Where both curve intersect each other, equilibrium price is determined. And that price tells us that how much quantity will be produced by producer and how much quantity of the product will be demanded by consumer at a particular price of the product. So it is very helpful in determining the demand and supply and forecasting the demand of the product. Now, principles of managerial economics. What are the various principles of managerial economics? Principles of managerial economics tells us that how people make decisions. You know, people face trade-off. What is the meaning of this trade-off? Trade-off means there is a contradiction, there is a trade-off between each and everything. For example, there is a trade-off in between of unlimited want and limited resources. There is a trade-off between production possibility. Curve also tells us about these trade-off. If we want to produce one commodity in large quantity, then we must have to sacrifice the other commodity because we have limited resources. If wants are unlimited, resources are limited, means there is a trade-off. If we want to gain something, we have to lose something. We have to sacrifice something. It means there is a trade-off. So each and everything, each and every situation, we have to face some trade-offs. So trade-offs generally people always face about because resources are always available in limited quantity and wants and demands are higher or abundant. Next is opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is known as transfer earning. Opportunity cost is that cost or next best alternative which we have to forego for getting one more additional unit of anything. If we want to produce, if we have a limited land area and we can produce either wheat or rice or sugarcane or peanuts, whatever we can produce. But if we produce wheat, then we have to sacrifice the production of rice, sugarcane, and peanuts. It means to to get one thing production, we have to sacrifice the next best alternative. We must have to forego. That is opportunity cost. So this is also tells us about the trade-offs. Next is rational people think at the margin and people respond always to incentives. So this is the main principle which tells us that how people make decisions. Next is principle of how people interact. How people interact in situation of like trade can make everyone better off. Markets are usually a good way to organize economic activity. Economic activity is that activity which is mainly related with money income. If any activity which is not related with money income, that is known as non-economic activity. But production, consumption, exchange, all these things are known as economic activity because these activities are related with money terms or money value. Government can sometimes improve market outcome. Now next is principles of how economy works as a whole. Economy as a whole. If we want to study economy as a whole, that is the branch of macroeconomics. There are two types of branches of economics. One is micro and other is macro. Microeconomics is a branch of economics which tells us about individual behavior, which studies about individual demand, individual supply, individual price of a commodity or a single firm or an industry, the price of one commodity, that is related to microeconomics. And macroeconomics always deals with totality or whole of the economic activities like aggregate demand, aggregate supply, total saving, total investment, national income, theory of employment, business cycles, balance of payment, overall living standard of the country people, poverty, inflation, population, balance of payment, foreign exchange rate, all these are the variables of macroeconomics. So how economy works as a whole, in this we study about a country's standard of living which depends upon its ability to produce goods and services. And prices rise when government or Reserve Bank of India print too much money. Whenever money supply rises, then price level will also rise. And this theory, which tells us the relationship between money supply and the price, is known as Fisher's quantity theory of money. Irving Fisher told that whenever money supply rises, price level will also rise proportionately by the same ratio. If money supply doubles, then price will also double. And if money supply will be half, then price level will also be half, but the value of money will be double. Price and money supply are positively related, but the value of money and price are negatively related. Next is society faces a short-run trade-off between inflation and unemployment. There is a trade-off between unemployment and inflation. This trade-off between inflation and unemployment, this theory is known as Phillips theory because this theory was introduced by A.W. Phillips. According to A.W. Phillips, there is an inverse relationship between inflation and unemployment. It means there is a trade-off. If we increase the rate of inflation, then unemployment will decrease. And if we decrease the rate of inflation, then unemployment will increase. It means if there is a negative relationship between two variables, that is called trade-offs. So in each and every situation, people always have to face some trade-offs. And how we can make decisions in between of these trade-offs, that is done by managerial economics. That's why we must have to know about what is the meaning of this managerial economics and why we study about this managerial economics. Now next is economic principles relevant to managerial decision like concept of scarcity. Scarcity concept tells us about that wants are always unlimited, resources are always limited, and best possible use of resources to get maximum satisfaction from the point of view of the consumer or from the point of view of the producer or firms. Each and every consumer wants to gain maximum satisfaction through minimum spending. And producers' main motive is to earn maximum profit at minimum cost. It means both want to gain maximum satisfaction and maximum output. And how they can satisfy and how they can achieve maximum satisfaction, how they can achieve maximum output, this is told by managerial economics. Now next is concept of opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the concept which is related with next best alternative which we have to forego from the alternative that is not selected. It highlights the capacity of one resources to satisfy multitude of parts, and it helps in making rational decision or rational choices in all aspects of business by sacrificing some of the alternatives. Since resources are scarce and wants are unlimited, and if we alternatively use all the available resources, then we can satisfy unlimited want with the help of limited resources. So economic principles are very helpful to take rational decision in managerial economics. Now next is nature of managerial economics. Managerial economics nature can be classified into so many parts. Like managerial economics maybe as a science or an art. Managerial economics is a branch of microeconomics. It may be microeconomics. It deals with microeconomics and it deals with macroeconomic variables. It deals with multidisciplinary and perspective. It may be normative or normative and positive economics. It may be management oriented and pragmatic and perspective normative discipline. So these are different natures of managerial economics. So it may be art and science, microeconomics, uses of macroeconomics, multidisciplinary, perspective, normative, discipline, management oriented, and pragmatic. So these are the nature of managerial economics. Nature of managerial economics, we can define this nature of managerial economics in this way that it is related with microeconomics. It finds the solution for different managerial problems of a particular firm. It operates against the backdrop of macroeconomics. Macroeconomics is the branch of economics which studies about the whole of the economic activities and totality or aggregates. Macroeconomic conditions of the economy are also seen as limiting factors for a firm to operate, like industrial policy and inflation. Normative statements are those statements in which they can't be verified by looking at the fact because they mostly deals with the future. And next is perspective agreement action. Perspective actions suggest us the course of action from the available alternatives for optimal solution. And applied in nature, it's a case study method to conceptualize the problem. And it offers scope to evaluate each alternatives like cost and revenue. And cost and revenue tells us that how a company or business enterprises can gain maximum profit at minimum cost. Next is interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary. Managerial economics nature is also related with multidisciplinary because it drawn from different subjects as mentioned. And assumptions and limitations, validity is not universal because economics principles are always based on some assumptions or some hypotheses. That's why it has some limitations, it has some assumptions also. So this is the nature of managerial economics. Now next is chief characteristics of managerial economics. Managerial economics is a microeconomics because if this branch, if this is related with only one branch of the economics like single or individual units of the economy, if we study about only single firm or individual firm and not on the working of whole the economy, that is called microeconomic managerial economics. And managerial economics takes the help of macroeconomics to understand and adjust to the environment in which the firm operates. Managerial economics is normative rather than positive in character. What is the difference between normative and positive economics? Positive economics just tells us that what is the relationship, what is the problem, what was the problem, and what will be the problem. When we study about what is, what was, and what will be, that is called positive economics. But if we want to get the solution of these problems, how we can solve these problems or what should be or what ought to be, that is the part of normative economics. So normative economics generally tells us the solution of the problem, and positive economics tells us the definition of problem. It defines that what is the problem, what was the problem, and what will be the problem in future, but not tells us the solution of that problem. Like if population is increasing, this is the example of which type of economics, positive or normative. So it is only the example of positive economics, because if population is increasing, that is telling us the problem, just only the problem, not giving the solution of this problem. But if we say that population should be controlled, so if we are giving the solution of that problem, that is the branch of normative economics. So managerial economics is normative rather than positive in character because it tells us the solution. It helps in decision making. It is both conceptual, means theory, and metrical or quantitative techniques. In managerial economics, we use some theories and quantitative techniques to analyze the different aspects of the economy. And the contents of managerial economics are based mainly on the theory of firm or business enterprises. And knowledge of managerial economics helps in making wise choices, making rational decisions in situation of trade-offs. Next is difference between economics and managerial economics. What is the difference between economics and managerial economics? Economics generally deals with the body of the principles and managerial economics deals with the applications of the principle. Next is economics characterize and it has some characteristics of both micro and macro in nature, and in managerial economics it is mainly in micro in nature. Economics is based on certain assumptions or hypotheses, and managerial economics, these assumptions disappear due to practical situations, due to give solution of these problems. In economics, different theories of distribution are studied, but in managerial economics, only the study of theory of project. Next is economics is both normative and positive, but managerial economics is mainly normative science rather than positive science because it always helps in making rational decision making or wise choices. That's why it gives the solution of these all problems which occur in business enterprises. That's why it deals with normative science rather than positive science. Now next is scope of managerial economics. Managerial economics scope can be classified in microeconomics. Next is profit analysis and management. Next is theory of capital and investment decisions. And in macroeconomic applied to business environment, in this economic environment, you know that business environment is a very broader concept. It has so many dimensions. In this, we study about economic environment, social environment, political environment, which is known as macroeconomic, which applied in business environment. And managerial economics mainly takes the theories of microeconomics, which applied in operational sense in this branch of economics. Now next is significance of managerial economics. In order to enable the manager to become a more competent model builder, managerial economics provides a number of tools and techniques. It provides most of the concepts that are needed for the analysis of business problems. Managerial economics is helpful in making rational decisions, and it evaluates the choice of alternatives. How we can alternatively use the available resources for the satisfaction of unlimited wants. So its significance is very broader and very wider because it is very useful in different aspects of the business activities. Functions of managerial economics. What functions performed by managerial economics? Number one is sales forecasting. If any business entrepreneur or if any executive want to forecast the sales of the company or business enterprises, then uh, it can be possible with the help of this study of managerial economics. So sales forecasting, economic analysis, capital budgeting or capital forecasting, capital projects, investment analysis, advice on trade and public relations, advice of commodities, analysis of underdeveloped economies, and industrial market research, pricing problem of industries, advice on foreign exchange, and environmental forecasting. These are the main functions performed by managerial economics, which is the most important branch of microeconomics. It uses the tools of microeconomics. Now next is managerial economics and functions of management. Managerial economics and its functions mainly deals with marketing management, operational management, and information system management. In marketing management, it tells us about which type of product will be produced by a firm or an industry and for whom producer will produce goods and services and at what price producer will sell its product and how to sell, what strategy will be used by the producer to sell their commodities in the market, and each and every producer want to gain maximum profit, so entrepreneur should use that type of strategy which promote their sales and their profits, because according to Baumol, if sale will be maximized then profit will automatically will be maximized. So if we focus on sales maximization, then profit maximization will definitely exist. And next is operations management. Operations management, in this, what type of technology we are using for the production of goods and services, what input we are using for the production of goods and services, and what is the processing, what is the way of processing these inputs to convert output. So all these things are studied in operations management. Now next is information system management. In this, various communication channels are discussed in this branch of information system management, and uses of information technology. What are the various uses of information technology while producing goods and services in the beginning stage of the production and at the last stage of the production? This information system management play very important role. So these are the different functions of management. Now next is, how is managerial economics useful? Managerial economics is very useful because it evaluates choices, alternatives. It identifies the ways to efficiently achieve different goals of the firm. It specifies pricing and production strategies. It provides production and marketing rules to help maximize net profit. And it helps in making rational decision or the best decision. Managerial economics can be used to efficiently meet management objectives. Managerial economics can be used to understand logic of the company, consumers, and the government policies and government decisions. So that's why we can say that managerial economics is very useful in the evaluation of these choices alternatives and to take rational decisions or the best decision. It is very helpful. Now next is pricing decisions, policies and practices. Pricing is very important area of managerial economics. In fact, in microeconomics, we know that prices of any particular commodity can be fixed or determined with the forces of demand and supply curve. Where both curve intersect each other, then price can be determined at the point of intersection, and quantity can also be determined. At present, in a free market economy, price always determined with the help of demand and supply curve forces. That's why at present, in a free market situation, price is fluctuating because price depends upon demand and supply. If supply is constant, demand rises, then price will also rise. If supply remains constant and demand falls, then price will automatically falls. And if supply of the commodity increases but demand will not change, then price will fall. And if supply falls, demand will remain constant, then price will rise. So in fact, price is the genesis of the revenue of a firm. And as such, the success of a business firm largely depends upon the correctness of the price decision taken by it. The important aspect deal with under this area are price determination in various market forms like perfect competition, monopoly market, monopolistic competition market, and an oligopoly market. What are the various pricing methods which we use to determine the price? And differential pricing policy tells us that how a producer can differentiate the price in a particular region and in different regions. You know that at present or in a monopoly market situation, discriminating monopoly always follow discriminating price policy, in which price discrimination is made by producer. If producer charge different prices from the different consumers for the same product, that is called this price discrimination or discriminating monopoly. And what is product line pricing and price forecasting? So managerial economics is very helpful, which is related with pricing decisions, policies, and practices. Now next is demand analysis and forecasting. It also helps in analyzing the demand for a product. A business firm is an economic organism which transforms productive resources into goods that are to be sold in the market. A major part of managerial decision making depends on accurate estimation of demand. Before production schedule or before producing any types of goods and services, first of all, demand forecasting or demand prediction is very important thing, because before production schedule can be prepared and resources employed, a forecast of future sale is essential. This forecast can also serve as a guide to management for maintaining or strengthening market position, and enlarging profits. Next is profit analysis. Profit is the major goal of the business firms, and every business enterprises or entrepreneur want to earn maximum profit. They want to maximize their profit. What type of strategy they have to follow so that they can earn maximum profit. So profit making is the major goal of the business firms. There are several constraints here on account of competition from other products, changing input prices, and changing business environment. Hence, in spite of careful planning, there is always certain risk involved. Profit theory guides in calculating the pure profit or pure return on capital besides future profit planning. So profit analysis mainly based on cost and revenue. Cost is the expenses which incurred in the production of goods and services, and revenue is the earning of a firm by selling its output, or the sales return is known as revenue. Whatever amount the producer get after selling its product, that is called revenue, and the difference between revenue and cost is known as profit. If revenue is greater than cost, then firm will earn more profit or supernormal profit. If revenue is less than cost, then firm will bear losses, and if both are equal, revenue and cost both are equal, then firm will be in situation of break-even point or no profit, no loss situation. So profit making is the major goal of the business firm, and there are several constraints which we have to analyze, which we have to study while analyzing the profit. That is changing in input prices, changing in business environment, and some risk which also involved. So we must have to take careful planning about all these things. Now next is basic tools in managerial economics, or basic principles in managerial economics. One is incremental principle, second is equi-marginal principle, third is opportunity cost principle, fourth is time perspective principle, and fifth is discounting principle. These are different principles in managerial economics or basic tools in managerial economics. Now one is incremental principle. Incremental principle gives an idea to increase the production, not only with one more product, it could be any quantity till the profit exists. According to this principle, profit can be existed either by increasing sales or total revenue, or by decreasing total cost. As I have discussed with you, when total revenue is greater than total cost, then firm will earn maximum profit. And if total revenue is less than total cost, then firm will bear losses. And if both are equal, then there will be the situation of break-even point will exist. No profit, no loss. So if total cost is less and total revenue is more, that is incremental principle, and profit will be maximized. Next is equi-marginal principle. This law of equi-marginal utility states that a utility maximizing consumer distribute his consumption expenditure between various goods and services he or she consumes in such a way so that the marginal utility which he or she derived from the consumption of that particular commodity should be same. The principle suggests that available resources like inputs should be so allocated between the alternative options that the marginal productivity from the various activities are equalized. For example, suppose a firm has a total capital of rupees 100 million, which it has the option of spending on three projects like A, B, and C. Each of these projects require a unit expenditure of rupees 10 million. So we should allocate this limited amount of capital in these three projects in such a way so that we can maximize or equalize the marginal productivity. It tells us about equalization of marginal productivity. That's why its name is equi-marginal principle. Next is opportunity cost principle. Opportunity cost generally related with trade-offs. Choices involve sacrifices. The cost involved with the sacrifice. It is the cost of a next best opportunity, which is the lost, will be called as opportunity cost. For example, 100 rupees can be used for purchasing book or eating in pizza or purchasing of stationery. But if you choose one option, like if you purchase book from these 100 rupees, then you must have to sacrifice eating in pizza corner or purchasing of stationeries. So this is known as opportunity cost. Now the cost of purchasing book is also include the cost of eating pizza or the cost of purchasing of stationeries. This is opportunity cost principle. Next is theory of the principle of opportunity cost. No matter what we do, there are always trade-offs. Scarcity, limited resources is the main reason behind these trade-offs. The opportunity cost of something is what you sacrifice to get it. Next is time perspective principle. Time perspective principles tells us about the time period. You know that Marshall has classified time period into three main categories. One is very short period, that is known as market period. Second is short run, and third is long run. Short run is that time period in which some factors remains constant, only one factor is variable, and in long run, in this all factors of productions are variable. So short run and long run time periods play very important role in business decisions. Short run means that period within which some of inputs can be altered, cannot be altered like fixed. However, in long run, all the inputs can be altered, so they are variable in long run. Determination of time perspective is of great significance where projection are involved. Next is discounting principle. Discounting principle is the concept of discounting. Future is based on the fundamental fact that a rupee now is worth more than a rupee earned a year after. The concept of discounting future is based on the fundamental fact that a rupee earned now is worth more than a rupee earned a year after, or even if there will be a certain future return, yet it must be discounted because to wait for future implies a sacrifice for the present. Unless these returns are discounted to find their present worth, it is not possible to judge whether or not it is worthful undertaking the investment today. So, what is the value of rupee at present and what will be the value of rupee in future? It tells us by this principle of discounting principle. Next is conclusion. We can conclude from today's session that managerial economics can be regarded as an overview course that integrate economic theory, decision making, and the functional areas of business administration studies, and it examines how they interact with one another as the firm attempts to achieve its goal most efficiently. You know that managerial economics generally takes the principles of microeconomics. It is related with economics because it uses the tools of economics for making rational decision and wise decision. And we know that resources are always limited, and how we use these limited resources for satisfying unlimited want, and how we take rational decision when there is a trade-off situation exist in the economy. All these things tells us by managerial economics, because managerial economics is very helpful in taking rational decision and forecasting the demand and what type of product we are producing, what type of input we are using in the production of goods and services, and at what price we have to sell all the products in the market. So all these things should be rationalized, and the decision of what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, all these things which are known as central problems of an economy. So all these issues are related with microeconomics, and microeconomics theories mainly used in managerial economics. That's why managerial economics is mainly the branch of microeconomics, and the tools of macroeconomics mainly used in studying the whole business environment. Because if we are studying in totality or in aggregates, that will tell us the whole of the economic activities, and that will be we will study in the branch of macroeconomics. But in microeconomics, we always study about individual firm or individual industry, or price of a particular commodity, how price is fixed under a different forms of market, like perfect competition market, in a monopoly market, or in a monopolistic competition market, or in oligopoly market. Perfect competition market, generally price is determined with the forces of demand and supply curve. And in a monopoly market, price is determined with the help of MR and MC curve. MR is marginal revenue and MC is marginal cost. Where MC cuts MR, that is the equilibrium point. And if we join this line to AR curve, which is always downward sloping curve in monopoly market, then we can determine the price of the product. So price can be determined with the help of different forms of market. So in this session, we have discussed about managerial economics, the meaning of this managerial economics, nature of managerial economics, scope of managerial economics, and the significance of managerial economics, and what are the various tools of taking rational decisions under managerial economics. So in next session, we will discuss about other topic. So thank you.